Hi everybody, it's Eric. It's time for our video conversation once again this week. We've had well over 350 visitors just last week alone, continuing into this week. Folks coming on spring break to tour the Capitol. Don't hesitate to reach out anytime we can be of help to make your experience in Washington, seeing its history as part of our country, a very memorable opportunity and occasion. Now we're going to get to the questions though, and the first actually is George in Bloomington. And George writes in, "Dear Congressman Paulson, thanks for your post regarding health care. What I would like to discuss today regarding healthcare is the elephant in the room that no one wants to tackle. Obesity is going to ruin this country. It is out of control. The associated medical conditions will overwhelm our system if something is not done. I don't have all the answers, but I really believe that this deserves a serious look. Perhaps shifting subsidies would be a start. Hope you take some time to consider this. Sincerely, George." George, actually, thanks for bringing up a very important topic. There's been a lot of talk about healthcare lately, and I will tell you that one area that I am focused on right now is the obesity epidemic that is just beginning. Today, there are 1 in 3 adults and 1 in 5 children in our country, in America, that have obesity. And that means it has a spillover effect, as you mentioned, on healthcare costs. It's estimated that we spend about $200 billion annually on obesity and all of its related medical conditions and effects because of that. For seniors on Medicare in particular, it's also another $50 billion every year that we spend on obesity and treating that as well. The good news is there is bipartisan legislation that I just introduced with Representative Ron Kine from Wisconsin, the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act. It will allow the FDA to allow more improved FDA-approved therapies for going after the obesity epidemic. It's going to help tackle the challenges that will help save money. Very important. Next up is a question we got from Mark in Plymouth, and Mark writes in, "Dear Representative Paulson, please explain why you voted to kill internet privacy protections by voting for SJ Res 34. This is a very serious issue for me. Thank you, Mark." Actually, Mark, thanks for sharing your concern. There's been a lot of confusion regarding internet privacy or some of the rules that are associated with the recent vote that we had here in Congress. Historically, the Federal Trade Commission has been the entity responsible for governing internet privacy and privacy of data, and the internet has thrived over the last several years, in particular with an expansion of economic growth, etc. They've also had a lot of enforcement. 150 different violations have been strictly enforced by the FTC, going after those organizations when they violated your privacy. However, recently, under the waning days of the old administration, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, put forth its own set of rules creating confusion regarding internet security and privacy. This created conflict, and that's where the challenge has been. I did vote to restore the proposed rule to make sure that we wouldn't do the proposed rule, but it would restore that control back to the FTC. We should be very clear, though. Your internet privacy is no different than it was last week, than it was last month, or than it was last year. And internet service providers will and are still prohibited from selling your personal customer data or from harvesting that information for your personal information for other uses. So no change in that respect. But continue to stay in touch now that the legislative opportunity is to redirect and look for more opportunities to manage that privacy concerns as we look into the future. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Please reach out anytime on Facebook, on Instagram, of course on Twitter or the web at paulson.house.gov. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week.